Hello, it's that time again when we get to tell you all about the wonderful and inspirational events and people from Lincolnshire in episode 12. Yes, episode 12 of the Links, Knives, Natters podcast. I know that's a mouthful, the Links, Knives, Natters podcast. Today's guest is Jenny Damp, Marketing and Communication Executive of Lincoln Big. The aim of Lincoln Big is to put Lincoln on the map as a retail and tourist destination and improve the experience of the city centre for businesses and people who live and work and visit here. Hello, Jenny. Welcome to the Links Life Natters podcast.
Hi, Shelley. Thank you for having me.
That's all right. I wanted to tell our listeners about Lincoln Big and what actually Lincoln Big does. So, first of all, can you explain to our listeners what Lincoln Big actually is?
Yeah, Lincoln Big, the big part stands for Business Improvement Group. So the businesses in the city centre, they have to meet a criteria, and then if they do meet the criteria, they have to pay a levy fee. Then that levy fee contributes to a lot of what Lincoln Big does. So through the events, through the wardens and the security, through the street dressing that we do. And then if a lot of the funding does come elsewhere or it's funded by Lincoln Big, so most of the things we do are, free for the people of Lincoln to enjoy and benefit from.
Yeah, you said the business levy payers. Can you explain a bit more what's involved with that?
So there's a number of businesses in the city centre. There's a catchment area, a boundary, so to say, within Lincoln. It is mostly the city centre, all the way up from the Bailgate and up to Lincoln, down to St Mark's, past there. It's a relatively large area covering most of the city centre. And then businesses included in that area with a rateable value of over £6,000 have to pay a levy fee. It's only about 1% of their rateable value, so it's varying depending on the business size. And then they'll pay that yearly, and then at the end of every 5 years, those businesses can choose whether to vote Lincoln Big in or out.
Wow, so your job is sort of dependent on whether the businesses keep you within
sometimes it's a bit unnerving, but no, it's making sure the businesses are getting value for the money.
Yeah, because if I owned a business, how can I get involved and what sort of benefits would I get as a member? I know you've just touched on it a little bit. So say I had a small shop that was on Steep Hill, for example. I was a tea shop and I wanted to join.
So if you were a tea shop on Steep Hill and your rateable value was below £6,000, you could become a voluntary member. That costs depending on the size. So if you had 5 or less employees, it's about £150 for the year. And then if you had over 100 employees, you can get a tailored package. But by becoming a voluntary member, you're kind of choosing to take part, and you would then get some of the benefits of a levy payer. So you'd get marketing support, you'd get access to our discounted car parking and bus passes, you'd get full membership to the security group and radio leasing. You could benefit from our In Bloom campaign, so with the hanging baskets, the flowers on the street and the bunting and the flags that you see, that's Lincoln Big as well.
Wow, so there's quite a few strings to the bow of Lincoln Big, what you actually do and stuff. I know when I've done my research and stuff like that, I was thinking, what can I talk about? Because there's so much that Lincoln Big actually does, or
Absolutely.
they work in association with other parts of the community or the business community. There's always lots of things going on and stuff. What is the actual aim of Lincoln Big?
So our ultimate aim really is to make the city centre a great place to live, work and visit. So kind of improving it for the employers and the employees, whilst also bringing the tourists into the city, putting money into the economy, increasing the footfall.
Yeah, because that links in nicely with what I was going to ask you next, which was, how does Lincoln Big support the community? And you've touched on it a little bit with all the different events and things.
Yeah, so the events is probably one of the key major ones. It brings in, tens of thousands of visitors to the city that may not normally come. Things like the 1940s weekend, the kickstart at the castle. These popular events are all free to attend, and they kind of bring people in and show them a different side of Lincoln and help bring that footfall in and encourage them to kind of see what Lincoln has to offer, whether that be retail, hospitality, or even the professional services available.
Yeah, because obviously we've had quite a few events lately, and I know Lincoln Big have had a hand in them, or they've worked in association with because one of the ways I first heard about Lincoln Big was the illumination of the house of, I can't say that, but a certain well-known department store in Lincoln had an event on in February, and it was the Valentine's event where you worked in association with another company to illuminate this department store.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So that was part of a project called Lincoln Creates, which also is funded by Lincoln Big. So we put a large chunk of money into that, and it's encouraging businesses and artists to work together to create projects like that that light up Lincoln, you know, making it just a great place to live and improving the atmosphere and everything.
Yeah, because Lincoln Big has a hand in some of the quite well-known events like the you just mentioned it, the 1940s weekend. What other events has Lincoln Big been involved in sort of in the past?
So Lincoln Big, we help contribute to a lot of the citywide events like Steampunk. We support with some of the funding, the organising, and the operational side of things. And then events such as 1940s and Dino Dig, which took place over Easter in the Cornhill, that was completely funded and organised by Lincoln Big and was free for everyone to come and take part.
The Dino Dig. Explain the Dino Dig for me.
That was new this year, actually. So it involved well, it's about a giant T-Rex that kind of came to life when people moved in front of it. It roared. Then we had photo cutouts and a sand pit where people could dig and look for ancient dinosaur bones.
Wow.
So yeah, we're looking forward to bringing that back next year.
That sounds amazing and stuff. I must admit, I did see it in the town and stuff like that, and did wonder sort of like the Dino Dig, because that's quite different and stuff. And I guess that would bring people in and stuff. And I mean, what's your personal favourite event that you've worked on or you've worked in association with? You must have a favourite that you've particularly worked on and gone, I really enjoyed that one.
I did really enjoy the dinosaur one, just to see the children there enjoying the puppet shows that were going on. But as a business improvement group, I think 1940s does play a crucial role. Just seeing all the businesses getting involved. You know, they got fancy dressed up in vintage clothing. They did the window dressing, and I think it really helps that sense of like a community that come together. So I was really proud to be part of 1940s.
Yeah, because that's quite a big event that happens and stuff, and I've actually been to that before in the past. And for people that don't know it, the shops all get decorated up in 1940 styles, if I'm right. You know, they take the shops back to vintage style window fronts, if I'm correct.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And then some of the shops as well show kind of the journey of how they kind of turned the time back in the shop, so to speak. So that's
And
always
there's all sort
interesting.
of like market stalls and stuff, sort of vintage market stalls in the marketplace, and there's people doing sort of 1940s dancing and stuff. And it's a great atmosphere, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely superb. Yeah. The visitors that come dressed up there, you can tell they're enthusiastic about what they do, and it kind of adds to the positive atmosphere. And then we had the flyover as well, actually, this year, which was
Oh
a great
yeah,
addition.
yeah. Yeah, because that was I can't remember off the top of my head what the planes were. Because normally it's the Lancaster, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. It was the Lancaster this year. It was meant to be the Hurricane, but it's kind of they had to turn it around, which I think we had the one that was more reliant to the weather because obviously this year it did rain a little.
Yes, yes, because the vintage aircraft are very weather dependent, aren't they? You know, depending on how the weather is and stuff,
Yeah.
depends on what plane you're gonna get. But just to get a vintage plane fly over, I mean, that's a crowd pleasing thing in the first place, isn't it? Sort because everybody like, wow, the Lancaster and the Hurricane. Everybody starts to look up, and you see cameras clicking and all the rest of it. J&S Plumbing. J&S Plumbing is your local, friendly, reliable plumbing and heating engineer covering Lincoln and surrounding areas. Our experienced and fully qualified heating engineers are on hand to carry out boiler installation, repairs and servicing. Just call 01522 708 208. That's 01522 708 208 or email sales@jasplumbingandheating.co.uk. So what are you looking forward to coming up? What's coming up? Because I know one of the events we were talking about is the Monster Trail, and I know you guys are working in association with the City of Lincoln Council, Lincolnshire County
Yes.
Council.
Yeah, so it's all the monsters are organised and funded by the City of Lincoln Council, but Lincoln Big are delighted to be supporting them. We're contributing to, I think it's two of the monsters, and we're looking forward to see them. We think, well, they'll really enhance the city and create a kind of a fun atmosphere. So we're
When you
looking forward
say
to that.
Yeah, when you say monsters, you mean sort of like space monsters or sort of just generally designed monsters by artists, or are you able to go into a little bit more detail?
Yeah, I think they'll be just your general. I suppose they could look like aliens. Who knows? But they're more your general monsters, with your a million eyes or your freaky arms and legs and things. Um,
Will they be animated or will they be sort of glowing in the dark? What do we know?
yeah, they'll light up. So as the sun sets, they'll kind of pop even more. So it will definitely be interesting to see and watch them kind of light up Lincoln in the darker days of
Oh,
October.
that sounds amazing. You'll be probably walking down the street and all of a sudden you'll think, what the heck is that? Then you'll get closer. Then you'll realize it's a monster and stuff like that. When I know you've done stuff, events and stuff in the past, will there be sort of like a guide to what monsters are where for the children? Will there be a trail for the children to follow on that one?
I'm afraid I'm not too sure about that. I do believe that the City of Lincoln Council will push kind of the locations because they will be located, around every corner in the city, so spread out wide. And I do believe the council will be releasing more details about where they'll be.
One of the things that I read is about a new walking history tour.
Yes, so this year we've welcomed, well, two new history tours actually, one uphill and one downhill. They're both, they'll probably, well, they can take as long as you like, really, because it's great to use that as an opportunity to explore Lincoln and pop into the shops and the cafes and everything.
Yeah, yeah, because also one of the other things, and I've actually been on this, was the bus tour as well. You were sponsoring the Lincoln Open Bus Tours?
Yes, the Lincoln sightseeing bus tours, funded and organised by Lincoln Big in partnership with Stagecoach, but it will actually turn into a ghost bus tour for Halloween.
Wow, can you explain a bit more on that one?
Of course. So on Saturday the 21st and Saturday the 28th of October, from 6 till 7, the what would normally be the Lincoln tour bus will turn into the Ghost Bus tour. So it will do a similar route. However, we'll welcome Karen from the Ghost Tours uphill, and she'll kind of just tell you all about the secrets of Lincoln and the history and the spooky side of things.
Yeah, and how can people book that, and where can they find more information on that ghost tour?
So more information about the ghost tour and all our Halloween experiences. So we've got Strolling Bones, Scarecrow Trail, and a pop-up pumpkin patch will
A
be
pop-up
visible.
pumpkin patch.
Yeah, new for this year, we're welcoming a pop-up pumpkin patch at the Waterside Shopping Centre.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I'm gonna have to ask Jenny and sort of explain the pop-up pumpkin patch.
So yeah, it's new for this year, and we're really looking forward to working with Waterside for this. And everyone's encouraged to kind of, well, it's in part with the Scarecrow Trail, but people can come and for free grab a pumpkin and start carving it and sit in
Oh,
the
so
straw
proper
bales.
pumpkins then, not animated pumpkins, proper pumpkins.
Absolutely, yeah, proper pumpkins that people can carve free of charge.
Wow, free of charge. So the little ones, or even some big old adults might want to do it as well, can literally pop into the Waterside Centre and carve a pumpkin.
Yeah, so that will be Saturday the 28th and Sunday the 29th of October from 11 till 4.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's amazing, what you guys are doing in the city to promote it and what events are going on. One of the ones I also just want to touch on very quickly is the street wardens. how does a street warden work in conjunction with you guys?
So our street warden currently, we've just got the one, which is Danny, but we are hiring for more. So if anyone's interested, if they visit the Lincoln Big website, Danny works a lot with the security side of things and the street management. So he'll clean chewing gum off the ground, he'll paint benches and clean graffiti off walls, and then he'll also help chase down shop theft. And he works with the radio to speak with the security guys in shops to help reduce the number of theft in the city.
Very well done to Danny. He sounds like an amazing guy. You know, I'm glad you've got him because you know, he sounds what he does. It sounds amazing and stuff like that.
Absolutely. He's a brilliant addition to both the team and to the city, I think.
One sort of like last question for you, for yourself, is what's a typical day like for a marketing and communication executive at Lincoln Big?
I hate to say the cliche, but it always keeps you on your toes. I think from discussions about new projects like the Halloween to your simple just sharing things on social media to raise awareness of your businesses and what they offer. I always feel like I'm getting a good insight into what's happening in the city, which is good both for professionally but also personally. I can see what's happening and what I want to attend.
Yeah, because that's absolutely brilliant. Because I think a lot of people, you know, don't know what's going on in the city. So for somebody like yourself to keep promoting all these events, that's absolutely brilliant. So if you can just recap for me, where can people find all your contact details and different events and stuff? You can just tell our listeners where they can get in touch with you, where they can find events, that sort of thing.
So we're active on social medias like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And then if they visit lincolnbig.co.uk, they'll find all our upcoming events, everything Lincoln Big does for the city, and they can contact us. There's a form to fill out, or they can give us a call or contact info@lincolnbig.co.uk. And one of the team will contact them back. And we're always loving chatting to our members and people of the city to find out what they want to see in Lincoln.
Absolutely brilliant. What we'll do, Jenny, is we'll add to all those links to our social media platforms, and we'll put different dates on so people know what events are on what dates, and we'll also put your contact information on our social media platforms as well. Jenny Damp, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today, and thank you for talking to the Links Lives Natters podcast.
Thank you, Shelley. It's been wonderful.
You have been listening to the Links Lives Natters podcast with me, Shelley. Many thanks to Jenny Damp from Lincoln Big. All the events and her contact details will be listed on our social media platforms. Love this episode of the podcast? Head over to Amazon Music, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify and YouTube to subscribe, rate and leave us a review. It's very much appreciated. Thank you. That's this week's episode of the podcast. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode. Thank you for listening.